Here we are, wine in three. New location for shooting today, but we're gonna wait for Emmanuel to join us. A lot to talk about. Oh my goodness. And we have plenty to talk about with wine. There's always plenty of stuff to talk about with wine. So many producers, so many regions, so many grapes, so many varieties, so many blends, so many personalities, so many generations of families involved with wine over thousands of years. So we haven't even scratched the surface yet. So thank you all for joining us. For you hardy followers, hopefully we're going to be adding more and more as we go along. But I am going to invite Manuel in here. Going on here, everything's a little shaky today. Anyway, new location, new everything. So, there you go.
Hey, Pete.
There
What's
we
up,
go.
buddy?
All right, I messed this up. All right, now we got my whole head in here, but working on my my video locations. It was really warm today, but it's really super dark at 5 o'clock now. So
Yeah, I know.
can't even go outside anymore. It's super too the lighting sucks anyway. So, so I am happy to see you. It's been a while. 2 weeks is normal here, but it's always a good thing to go be talking about wine. Big day for a lot of people. Obviously, election results came in, and I'm not a big politics guy, but hopefully with some changes, we can get rid of some of these wine tariffs that are hurting the wine industry a little bit. So that's my political statement of the evening. So, and can you hear me, Emmanuel?
Yes, sir.
All right, awesome. Well, let's get started. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well.
Same here. Same
Awesome.
here.
And now we're in your wheelhouse. I'm going to do a brief intro. This is Wine in Three. I am the founder of Great American Nosh and other Nosh entities. We focus on food, beer, and wine. Our tagline is eat, drink, and savor, because we know there's more to eating and drinking than just eating and drinking. We like to savor it. And as part of our programming, we talk about wine. We learn about wine. We appreciate wine. And this program, obviously, I have to bring in an expert because I don't know everything. Emmanuel Montevecchi is here with us. He is my wine guy at Total Wine in Danvers. He, every 2 weeks, picks 2 great wines. And obviously, we talk about the region. We talk about the grape. We talk about the personalities. We geek out a little bit. And that's kind of what we're all about here at Wine in Three. So I'm going to go jumping into this a little bit. Say hi. You could say hi, Emmanuel, if I missed anything. But
Oh, yeah. Hey, Pete. What's going on? Yeah. No, this is going to be good. This is going to be a good segment, I think. Yeah.
this is good. This is going to be a beauty because I feel like you have a lot to say. So,
Yeah, I think I do.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go over. We're gonna go over a couple of topics. So obviously, we're gonna talk about Malbec. We're gonna talk about Argentina, Mendoza, Benegas wines, Uno Cobos wines, and the wines themselves. So let's talk a little bit about Argentina. I have a little map. So let's see if I can. There's Argentina, and this is the area we're going to be talking about, which is Mendoza. But there are certain areas within Mendoza, but really Argentina is known for its Malbec. About 75% of their production is in Malbec, or in Mendoza, I'm sorry. Malbec is really a grape that came from France, but it really flourished in Argentina due to a different climate. It's really known for its full body reds, bold fruit, smooth chocolate finish, short finish, not a long finish like Cabernets would have. Similar grapes that you might like if you like, Mike Malbecs would be Syrah, Merlot, or a Monastrell. Kind of a medium alcohol, medium tannin, medium acidity. Some fruit notes and aroma, red plum and blackberry, and other notes would be tobacco, vanilla, and cocoa. Did I have that covered right?
Yeah, you make good sense. Yeah, that's good. That's
I
a
meant
good.
to-
I think you encompassed all of it.
All right, now I'm going to go jumping into your subject a little bit, and you're going to just jump in from where I'm going to leave off here. So we talked about Mendoza. Really, this is the main growing region in Argentina. But now with what's gone on over the years is now there's subregions of Mendoza, or they call them geographic indications, GIs, I guess is the term. One of those GIs, which we're obviously going to focus on, and Emmanuel is going to fill us in on this, is am I saying this right if my Spanish is right? Uco Valley?
Uco.
Uco.
That's right.
All right, I got the Uco right. Okay, Uco Valley. This region is, way up, like at the foot of the Andes. We're talking, 3,000 to 7,500 feet above sea level. Some people believe you couldn't have grown grapes up here, but obviously the winemakers have thought differently. Very diverse soils. The terroir is complex. You can't even box it. You can't even put it into a box. Let's just put it that way. This region really is all about I don't know what, high energy. I don't know what the hell that means, but more of a mineral quality to the Malbec versus that fruity formulaic Malbec that you find in the lower regions of Mendoza. High acidity. What I learned is that the acidity is on the similar levels as the Chablis region in France. It's about 20 years old, the Uca Valley, in terms of their status. And it's got similar temps to the Champagne region in France, but they have more intense sunlight and obviously extra hours of sunlight at that altitude. And some of the vineyards and some of the winemakers do these things called calacatas, which are kind of graves, or they build, it's really they dig a hole trying to determine in each vineyard plot the soils that make up that plot. Now, some plots can make up, 20 different soils, subsoils, everything like that. And the other thing that they're known for is they're doing less oak in terms of their aging, and they're doing it earlier harvests. So I'm going to leave off at that, and I know Emmanuel's got plenty more to say. So.
All right, so let's see. First off, I got this sportiness.
Oh, the Argentina. There you go. Showing off your heritage. There you go.
Yeah. All right. So the Malbecs that I chose that we're going to discuss today. We have one from the Arrego Venegas, the vineyard there, which is this one here.
All right. Yep.
And that's I got information actually from I reached out to the corporate office, and they gave me they actually sent me the information through the website. So there is a website for the Arrego Venegas. It's Lynch also, Arrego Venegas Lynch family. So I've never had this Malbec. I've had plenty of other Malbecs. The other Malbec that we're going to talk about is pretty well known, I think, in this country because it comes from the Paul Hobbs Winery. Paul Hobbs is pretty prolific, well known for a lot of Pinots, some really nice cabs. But this is the Felino.
Felino, yeah. Which is feline in Spanish, right?
Yeah, sure. It is. Yeah, you got it, Pete. Yeah. So Mendoza is pretty much when people think of Malbecs, as you mentioned, you think of Mendoza. I mean, it's world recognized. The aging, like you were saying on the Arrego Venegas, there's a little bit of French oak aging on the wines. I think that's customary with a lot of Malbecs to age them in French oak. You do what happens with a lot of Malbecs that might turn some people off is that you do at times get a bold, kind of like powerful, very tannic wine. So that
doesn't happen. Yeah, it doesn't happen with Malbecs, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So what I did was I went into some of the let's see here. I went into the info here. La Juan de Coyo, which is
Hmm.
in the Mendoza region. Um, the winery, the Benegas winery, was built in about 1901.
Yep.
And then we have what went on was the Federico Benegas Lynch, who this wine that I just presented, this one here, it, he began a project in about 99
Hmm.
to kind of keep some of the this vineyard that was located in Mendoza in this Unco Valley, to kind of keep the integrity of it. So the
Yeah.
adobe walls were kind of like remodeled,
Got it.
as well as what's going on is you have these wines that kind of come from this particular producer that are kind of more floral. I think that's what you were saying, Pete. More
Yeah.
floral,
Yeah.
maybe
Sure.
getting away from that plum that you get a lot with
Hmm.
Malbecs, getting away from
Sure.
that, and a little more complexity, I think, with some of these wines.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm
but
going to show
Paul,
some
yeah,
pictures. Yeah, I want to show some pictures. So
yeah,
I think
go
this
ahead.
is. I think this one is from Hobbs's place.
Oh yeah,
I
okay.
mean, look at that. That is like, and I would be love to be looking at that every day. And then here's another one. I don't know if I got the right winery right, but there's another one,
Oh yeah,
and
it's
you just like,
gorgeous. Yeah,
holy crap.
The Andes Mountains, like we were talking about here.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. I mean, both wineries have quite a bit of history and a lot of interesting things. You mentioned that, from what I understood, is that the Benegas family really, it was Don Tiburcio Benegas who started the winery in 1883, but because of the Argentine crisis in the 70s, basically the shareholders sold out the winery and they dismantled everything. And
Right, right.
Federico, you're right, Federico had to like, he back, you're right, 99 is when he sort of like saw a property that I guess his great grandfather had, or
Yeah,
Don,
right, exactly.
he found was a plot that his great grandfather had planted, and he decided to take the plunge back into winemaking for the family, and that was in '99. And the gentleman that we're talking about here is Federico Benegas Lynch.
Lynch, right.
And then you're right, and then you mentioned Lujan de Coyo. 2 years later, he bought a winery in Lujan de Coyo as well, and I guess their first harvest was in 2000. So, and they're
Yep,
about
right
20
around there.
minutes
Yeah.
outside of, yeah, 20 minutes outside of Mendoza. You mentioned the adobe walls. I think they had 80 of these things. They focus on French oak in their aging. They have quite a portfolio of wines they offer. Obviously, we're talking about one, which is this estate wine Malbec. Awesome. Now, I know you're going to add some stuff about hops. This guy is something else. I mean,
Oh yeah.
folks,
Oh yeah.
even though Emmanuel sells this stuff and obviously lives wine every day, obviously I drink plenty of wine to make myself sort of a semi-expert, but I'm not. There's so many people involved with wine and so many entrepreneurs and pioneers and people that just come from humble beginnings to start a wine. So Paul Hobbs, we're talking about obviously this Felino here. This is a collaboration. This is something that he invested in Argentina. And he mentioned, obviously you mentioned that he was part of the California, Napa Sonoma Valley. He grew up on a farm in upstate New York. He was one of 11 kids. He went to school for medicine at Notre Dame. Decided he didn't want to do it anymore. His father encouraged him to get back into wine because he was really into how, really a terroir of the farm, which was more like fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. It really wasn't grapes at that time. But he went back to school. Went to UC Davis, got his master's in enology there, and he was on the inaugural winemaking team that made the first Opus One. As you
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
Opus One, folks, for Opus One, that is a partnership between Mondavi and Rothschild, which is two of the biggest names in wine.
Yeah, we're talking.
Then,
That's huge. That's Titan. Those are Titans in the industry.
yeah, and I guess they pulled him in, Hobbs, because I guess his knowledge of oak, I guess, is probably what I read. I don't know
Yes.
if I got that right. And then
Yeah,
he
that's right.
moved on to Simi Valley. He was the winemaker there, and then he went on to being a wine consultant at other locations. And I guess in 1999 is when he did this. Became part of this Argentine wine, Malbec, obviously in the Uco Valley. And I guess this comes from the Charnares estate, which is, I don't know, 1,184 meters above sea level. So I'm going to stop there. You can add more if I missed anything. I know we covered a lot. You know me, I like to yap my guns here, but.
Well, you got a lot of energy today, Pete. Yeah, no, I was gonna hone in on some of those things you mentioned. You know, well educated, as you said, went to Notre Dame. He at one point was going to study to be a doctor, but then he chose to go in a different direction. So he's a bright guy. He's pretty brilliant. He's pretty in this country, though. As I said, he's known. He's not known for the Malbec. His Malbec. He's known for the Crossbarn Pinot Noir,
Yep.
and he's got he actually has a Foligno cab as well. But he's more known for his Pinot Noir and some of his higher end cabs because they can be fairly expensive. We're talking around $100.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about his California operations at all. I know just from looking at the, Vina Cobos, they, not just what we're showcasing, but they have other kind of higher end, premium wines. Probably, I haven't even priced them out. They're probably over $100 a bottle at this point. But yeah, he's legit.
He's serious. He's well known, worldwide. So.
Awesome. So before we jump into the wines, why don't you tell everybody why did you pick these two? I mean, we could have picked anything, but you picked these two. So talk to me about why you did that.
Okay, so I chose the Arago Benegas, this one here, because I don't know a lot about it. And as I said, I reached out to corporate, and they gave me a good amount of information. I got a connection there. And he seems to be really, really great about getting back to me quickly. So, because I wanted to learn more about it. So that's basically why I chose that particular wine. The Foligno, I chose that because I was thinking, well, you have an Argentine winemaker and an Argentine family, and then you have an American, who, and I thought it'd be kind of interesting. I know I've heard of Paul Hobbs, obviously, from the other wines that I mentioned. The Pinot Noir, the Crossbarn is a very, very popular. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to kind of like match it up, with an Argentinian history and an Argentinian winemaker, and then an American winemaker, who's well known in this country. Yeah, so I thought that'd be kind of, it'd be interesting that way.
That's pretty interesting, and also the fact that I think Foligno, the Foligno wine, they use American oak, from what I understood. And the Arago Benegas, they use French oak. So maybe we're gonna have some interesting tastings here. So I'm gonna go. I got the Foligno kind of poured. My lighting here again. I got to work on my my overhead lighting, but definitely a deep ruby, very intense. I mean, it's right up to the rim in terms of that color. I haven't even taken a swig of this yet. Let's swig it over here. Folks, when I swirl, I suck, but I'm going to keep doing this. Swirling. Not bad. All right. See, I didn't spill anything this time, which is amazing for me.
That's important. Keep it in the glass.
Ooh. Boy, oh, what is that smell? What? My goodness. I definitely floral. There's something like a flower.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a spice. I can't.
Yeah, spice. You can get that for sure.
Not a pepper. No.
Yeah, maybe a little peppery. Definitely spice.
Yeah. Fruit. Definitely, the fruit would be really a dark black fruit. I just can't pick it out right now.
I mean, it could be plum. It could be plum.
A plum or a blackberry. Very interesting. I like the nose on this. Definitely appealing. Oh, look at it. I know, Jen. I know practice makes perfect. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I see her there. That's cool that you joined. Nice.
I know, it's awesome. She's she's out in British Columbia there. So yeah,
Oh, I know. I know. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
for
little
sure.
early.
Yeah.
It's a little early for day drinking, but well, maybe not. Very nice. Yeah, it's a white pepper, maybe a white pepper, something a little not that black pepper, not that intense, but I'm going with a plum. I think I'm going to go with the plum.
I mean, plum makes sense, you know. You usually get plum in a lot of Malbecs. It's that's what goes on.
Yeah, I wish I can determine the flour, but maybe I'll take a peek here. But yeah, no jasmine, no, not that. I'll figure on the flour. But let me go take a dive in here. I don't know if you're smelling any flour, any floral. You getting a floral on this? Yeah.
A little bit, a little
Yeah.
bit. There's like almost like that basement kind of like what do we call that?
Musty?
It's musty funk, like a funk,
A funk?
mustiness.
Yeah, there's that funk, but it's not like a kitty litter funk. It's not like a
No,
offensive funk.
no. It's not. It's what I usually think of when I think about a Malbec. I think like you get some of this. This is an aromatic that you get. It's common.
Yeah. Oh, I'll get
Hard
that.
to
Oh
distinguish.
my
Hard to
God.
distinguish. Yeah. Well, I guess it could be.
Maybe a daisy. Oh my goodness, like a daisy or a lily. I think maybe I'm getting a
Maybe.
lily. Yeah, like a tiger lily. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Oh, a tiger lily, huh?
I know. I'm like, holy crap, where'd that come from? Folks, I haven't really been drinking all day. Okay, just so you know, I'm relatively sober right now. So, all right. So I'm gonna go dive in. You and I've kind of got this thing surrounded, but we haven't like pinpointed. But maybe I let this thing breathe about an hour. So I did aerate it a little bit. Again, folks, I do recommend aerating wine. This is a very young wine. Um, mm. Oh, there's tannin too. Medium tannin, definitely
Oh,
medium
big.
tannin. Mm.
I think they're really present.
They're present. I'm used to stronger tannins, maybe like we have had that in vitro before, which is that super Tuscan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking of those tannins, and it's come close to that. The finish, it doesn't fall off. I didn't have a fall off of finish here. Folks, we've
Well,
had wines where we've had finish drop off completely, and then, for us, it's an unbalanced wine when it does that. But Malbecs are known for a medium finish. They're really not that long finish like a Cabernet would, but
yeah, right. They don't linger. They don't linger too much. They're kind of in and then they're out. It's it's sort of the way it goes.
a little acidic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little acidic, definitely.
A little sour. I think a little sour.
No, we don't want to use that word, Pete. Sour? You want to use that word?
No, it's not like vinegar. You know what I mean, but it's not like
All right, Pete means vinegar. He doesn't mean sour in an awful, offensive way, guys.
Yeah, right. I'm maybe describing it a little bit. It's definitely the puck. It is puckering a little bit. I'd say
Yeah.
medium high tannins at this point. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this. Didn't really jump out. Maybe because I'm used to that fruitier Malbec. Maybe my expectations, I should have just thrown them out the window. Alcohol level probably medium high here. It's not burning like we've had. I know we had those. I think 2 weeks ago, you and I, we had the 15% alcohol level.
Oh yeah,
wine.
the Zinfandel, the Lodi's.
Yeah, this isn't doing it for me. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of with you on that.
Yeah.
It's an American trying to make an Argentine wine. That's what it is.
Well, you're the Argentinian here. You can say what you want. Those damn Americans, they screw things up all the time. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to clear my palate a little bit. I want to go visit that one back. I want to visit that a little bit later in our show.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to give that one a second chance because I believe in second chances or third chances. All right.
For sure.
So now we
Definitely.
got
Yeah.
yeah, now we got the Arrigo Arrigo Benegas. Is that saying, am I saying that right? Benegas?
Venegas.
Benegas. Okay, the Benegas. Okay, Benegas.
Venegas.
All right, this is a state wine. Malbec's a 2017. Actually, both are 2000. The ones I got are 2017s. So what do we got in this bad boy? Basically, same ruby, deep, intense, up to the rim. You like these pretty glasses, folks? La Crusade,
Yeah, I know
baby.
you got some nice glasses. We already talked about that.
No, I got the little tulip thing going here. Hard to keep clean, but sorry.
You're so sophisticated.
Oh, you know me too well. All right. Whoa, that's more of an intense aroma. It's similar aroma. I'm getting the same.
Yeah.
Definitely the same aroma as the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's more intense. Definitely more intense on the fruit. That's a definite plum. I mean, that's screaming plum to me. But I don't know about floral. I'm getting a little floral, but not as much as the other one. These are really similar to each other in terms of the aromas, but I think this has more intensity to it coming out of the glass.
Well, as Pete, I think that doesn't have that like that funk we were talking about earlier. The mustiness like the Felino has.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit. It doesn't have that same kind of initially on the aromatics. It doesn't push that out.
Yeah. Well, it's not off-putting. Obviously, I think just like the Felino, I think the Negas actually has more draw me in a little bit more. I think I definitely want to take a sip of that. I can't catch up on any other. No, there's a little spice, but not as much as the other one. I don't really catch that. I don't know if you catching any spice or
no spice. No spice. The Felino seemed to initially, with the olfactory, the sensation there seemed a little more to offer. It had more on the nose. This one is a little. You get the plum.
Yep.
And it's you don't get a strong whiff of that mustiness sort of.
Yeah. I'm still the plum's there. That's it. I think the plum is there. There's some floral to it. I just can't. All right, Jen. I'm not doing the tiger lily on this one, but
Jen, yeah. Well, it's cool that Jen was able to join because I reached out to her a while ago. I don't know, and she, I get it. You're busy. It's
oh my
tough.
God, we're all busy.
This is an earlier time, so.
Oh yeah. Well, I know. Shout out to Perth Wine Girl who definitely wanted to do it, but it's 6 in in Australia. So
6 in, right?
Yeah, I said, why don't you see it on IGTV later on because it's a little too early.
Exactly.
Either you're doing an all night bender or you're getting up to drink.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Jen.
To join, yeah. We always like to have people get on with us,
Yeah, that's wine geeks here. All right, I'm gonna go dive in it because I'm not getting any more in terms of the aroma. I'm just sort of running circles back to the same smell. So,
all right, Pete, go for it.
It's a little more enjoyable. A little bit more. Mm-hmm. Not much.
Yeah.
Not much. I don't know. I think this mineral Malbec, I guess, is probably the right terms. These are mineral Malbecs,
Yeah, this one seems a little more so than the Felino.
It does.
Venegas here seems a little more. It's more thin, like a minerality. The thinness.
Yeah, they both have minerality. I think the tannins on this, I think, are more well-rounded.
Yeah.
They're not as and then drop. This is well-rounded tannin, so I think if it's a medium body, fills up your mouth a little bit better.
Hmm. Not as tannic. This isn't tannic like the Felino.
No, I think it's just a different tannin. I think that tannin, I think it's a well, I think it's a harsher tannin. I think this one's a little bit more elegant, more of an elegant, rounded tannin. I think it's hard to kind of delineate between the two, but I mean, all right. Well, I'm not gonna make my judgment yet. I would just say, initial reaction is I like the Benegas a little bit better to drink. I just think what's throwing me off is, when you're used to that fruitier, fruit-forward Malbecs that you and I are very familiar with, and obviously the Mysterio is a big fan favorite in the house.
Yeah, right.
That one, but when you're used to that, and then you go to this, which is, this is really kind of, I think what they're trying to do, and obviously it depends on the elevation and the climate and the terroir, is they're really kind of pulling back that kind of French view of this grape. I think that's the impression that I'm getting. They're trying to do more of a mineral, it had that minerality to it versus that fruit forward, I mean, because honestly, if you think about it, like when I think of Malbec, a lot of times I think of almost like a Beaujolais, where you're and not as fruity as a Beaujolais, but you know where I'm going with that, I think so.
Right. See, I have a little different impression at times though, because so some of the Malbecs that I've had I had years ago were more like full body and like like boom, like the boldness, you know what I mean, and it had that real tannic kind of plum earthiness thing going on.
Right. I'll correct myself. The Beaujolais doesn't have tannins. This has tannins to it, and then the Malbecs have tannins to it versus the Beaujolais, which is really fruity. I'll take that back. I'm probably mischaracterizing it. I would think of it as a fruit-forward wine. That's what I was trying to get to, not compare those two directly. That's just correct myself. I don't know. What do you think? I know what.
I think we got to do another go around.
I think so too.
Get back into Felino a little bit, kind of get in the water, and
I think the jury's out on both of these right now.
Well, says you, but yeah, I mean, we can. I don't know. I think the thing with my personal opinion of it, with Malbecs, when you open a bottle, I think they're almost better the day after. They really, you know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I think they really got to breathe. You really got to like. And some wines I think can be that way. They mellow out a little bit more. Maybe some other nuances, some notes come out of it the day after. I mean,
these are only 2017. I mean, or that's only 3 years old. I mean, I figured an hour aeration, maybe maybe a longer aeration would probably make sense. Maybe tomorrow they'll taste a little bit. Well, again, we're as folks know, we like to wine. We do pairings with wine all the time, and not all the time we're drinking them as a standalone. But I would imagine these might. Well, we're having lamb tonight, so
there you go.
I actually think these would go well with the lamb. Now, as a standalone, it's not something I'm going to be, drinking on my porch necessarily. But if it's chilly out with the fireplace going or a fire pit,
absolutely.
Maybe. I don't know. All right. I'm, me yapping a lot, but all right. So let's go back to the Felino. All right.
Okay.
Let's do this again. So I'm going to see if I get those same aromas that we got. This is the best part about wine, folks, is like a lot of this stuff changes over time, and as just Emmanuel alluded to, maybe that next day is going to be different. Maybe an hour from now is going to be different. I don't think these aren't that complex wines. I really don't. They're not like a Barolo, or a 40-year-old.
No, absolutely. You're right. I mean, obviously, you know that it can lend itself well to a nice piece of meat. No doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, that's traditionally how it's done, right? In Argentina, they do what's called an asado. That's the
Yeah.
name, and they just grill, And there's no vegan, there's no vegetarianism. Being a vegetarian, people eat meat, And I mean, uh, that's what goes on. I know things have changed, and in the last
Well,
20
well,
years.
you saw that movie, right? My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Did you see
You know
that
what?
one?
I've never seen that.
Oh my God, there's a line in that movie that would fit your world. All right,
What's the
Gabrielle
line?
will have to.
What's the line?
Gabrielle will have to. Well, it's a story about a traditional Greek family, and the daughter is this wallflower, and somehow she breaks out of it, and she meets this plain Jane white dude, very, and he's a vegetarian, and he's meeting the family for the first time, and he's telling the aunt or something that he's a vegetarian, and she screams out, "You don't eat meat!" and and then she
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, don't worry, we'll serve lamb." All right.
Got it.
Anyway,
Got it.
Gabrielle would probably know this. She I would
I
imagine
think
she.
she's seen it. I think she's seen it. It's not something
Yeah.
I've. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you saw her, you'd be laughing. You'd be laughing because obviously from your background, you're like, yeah, that's what we would do.
It sounds
Oh,
no. It
lamb.
sounds comical. It sounds funny. Jen remembers the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, she remembers it. All right, better the second time around.
Yeah. I would say that too. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely better. But yeah, like you say, it's not necessarily. It's a good maybe. I don't want to, maybe use the word table wine, but the complexity, there is some elegance there, I think, with
Yeah.
the Arago Venegas. The
Yeah.
Foligno is a little bit, what's the right? There's not a lot of complexity per se.
No, it's a simple wine. Basically,
Yeah.
one or two notes that you in your mouth, and then it goes down. Medium finish, tannins are there. I think elegant is probably the most kind thing to say to this. It is elegant. I think this is definitely not a standalone wine. I really don't see myself drinking this, by itself. I don't see it. Honestly,
Absolutely. That's fair to say.
I'm curious to see when we serve the lamb how this goes with the lamb, because I think
Yeah.
the lamb and this are going to go really well, because lamb is not as intense as beef would be. This is not as intense as you would want with beef anyway. So I think the lamb, as long as the lamb's not gamey, I think we're going to do fine. Now, all right, that's the Foligno. Now you already jumped to the Venegas, right? So
No. That was the Foligno I just had. This is.
all right, so you jumped to the Foligno. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's warm up. I'm going to go back to Venegas. See if I smell the same stuff. This is really good. Oh, I'm not getting that same. Oh no, different aroma now. I don't know what it is. Oh, it's muted now. Oh my God, the aroma it dissipated.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
there, but it's not as intense as it was. What 5 minutes ago? I mean,
Yeah. 5 minutes ago, really.
I don't know what yours did, but
Well, so this is the thing. So I messaged you earlier about the Foligno because this is the one that I picked up at the store. I had to go to a different store. It's a 2016.
oh, you got a 16. I got a 17. Okay,
Yeah, so
all
I
right.
don't know what went on because this is what was on the shelf. They didn't have any 17s when I got there.
I might have grabbed the last 17.
You see that? But it was kind of weird that way because.
Well, as you know, and as we've discovered, I know it's hard. Obviously, it's hard to do. Well, besides spending a lot of money, but it's for some of these wines that we're buying, the sub 25, sub 30, it's hard to find a 17 and a 16, on the shelf at the same time. It's hard to do a vertical unless you're collecting. as a regular consumer, like buying these wines, you're usually getting, whatever the latest release is. So in this
Right.
case, you're lucky I don't know how you got the 16
That's
versus
what I mean.
17.
I don't understand. I went to Burlington, and that's what they had, and they didn't have any 17s, and I thought it was odd because you were there, a couple days ago.
I was there like a day before you or 2 days
Yeah,
before where you were.
exactly. So that's weird. I think what were they doing? They hiding the 16? I don't know. I don't understand.
Well, you figured well, in terms of stock management, you want to get rid of the 16s first, and
That's what
then,
I mean. Right. Exactly.
all right. So just
That's a
folks, so
different entity. So I'm not
yeah,
associated with them.
this is the fun part about wine that I love because you got a 16, I got a 17. I think you and I are coming close to whatever where Rome is in terms of stuff like on the Foligno. But now I'm on the Venegas, and the Venegas I got, that aroma just dissipates. Now it's more of an elegant aroma. It's not in your face. It's not in your face. Not as
Right.
intense as it was.
Like it's calmed down, like you said, muted.
Mm. You know what? I think the tannins make this work. I think the tannins make this work now. You know what? I got my winner. I think this is the Venegas, but I think it's got to go. It's got to go with food. I really do. I think
Yeah.
that would be the
Yeah, for
best
sure.
expression of this wine is with food.
Well, so Argentina wins again, but the thing is though too, it's a cultural
Well,
thing as
with two
well.
Argentinian wines, I mean, what the hell?
Well, true to the tradition. With an Argentine, family history.
Yes. No, but you know what I mean. You got two
Yeah, I know.
Argentinian wines where it's like, okay, one of them's Argentinian and it's going to win, right? So, okay.
Right. No, but the thing is too, it's a cultural thing as well because like
Yeah.
with Mal, it's you have them with food, sure. You have them, with your friends, your family in Argentina. They like to, have a conversation at the dinner table, what have you, that sort of thing. So this is like for them, like having a Malbec, you would just have a Malbec you wouldn't need to have any sort of food necessarily. That's coming in the evening
Mm-hmm.
or in the day of when they're drinking the
Yeah.
Malbec, but they're accustomed to these wines that have these features, this kind of profile. Like I think
Yeah.
for us in the U.S., it's a little bit different,
Yeah.
because we're not, you know what I mean, accustomed to the bouquet or we might find it a little much if we don't pair it with
Yeah.
something.
Well, as an American, I'll probably add to this, but I think
Sure.
I think we're a little spoiled in terms of what is available to us. I think obviously depending on if you're an immigrant and whatever culture you come from, I'm from Eastern European background. My family is, so it's not like they had a big wine anything. So really, they came to America to obviously be American, and so now being American, for 2 or 3 generations later, it's more like like the melting pot, right? So, here I am. I have Argentinian wine. I have obviously California. Obviously, is the new entrant into the world, but before California, it was French, it was Italian, Spanish wines, and in America, we have all these things at our fingertips. And if you're not, first generation, second generation, third generation, well, second generation immigrants, you're in your third, fourth, you've become, Americanized, I guess is probably the right word, because now you're like, well, what are we having for dinner tonight? Well, we're going to have Chinese, or we're going to have Indian, or we're going to have tapas, or we're going to have,
Right. Eclectic.
Korean. I mean, it could be
You can
anything.
choose whatever sort of, whatever direction you want to go in.
That's right. And then when you were growing up, obviously, you had your certain cuisine and your certain wines, and that was it.
It was a lot of
Now you're
pasta, a lot
yeah,
of gnocchi, a lot of gnocchi. You know what I mean?
yeah. But now you're in America, and now your cuisine is like expanded dramatically, where you're sitting there and you can have any kind of cuisine basically in the world. You could either have an Amazon delivered to your house, or you can, go to the supermarket and you have those ethnic aisles, which is kind of funny. But ethnic aisles where you can get
Right.
Mexican, Indian, you get Asian, you can get, Jewish, you can get whatever, Polish. It
Sure.
could be anything. It's really kind of amazing. How I wouldn't say spoiled, but how fortunate we are.
Well, we have a lot of options. We'll put it that way. A
Yeah.
lot of options that certain other cultures may not have.
Yeah, and
So,
I'm grateful, and I am grateful for that. I am grateful for that.
absolutely.
I think, obviously, wine's expensive, and that's why you and I talk about these wines. And for people that really are budget conscious and don't have a lot of money to spend on wines, you don't need to spend 100, you don't need to spend 200, $300 a bottle. You don't have to buy a Petrus for, $3,000 a bottle. I mean, we talk about wine value, right? So the Felino and the Benegas, I mean, what are these? These are both sub 25, right?
Yeah, they're under 20. They're under 20.
Yeah.
We're right at 20. The Benegas is at 20. The Felino, I think, is a little less.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. I remember that. Yep. And we talk about wine value. Again, I really need to see what this is in terms of the food. I really need to see what it does with the food, to give it a full verdict as a standalone in terms of wine value. But
Absolutely.
again, for folks who do, well, once we dine again, you go to a restaurant and you're paying 10 to 12 bucks a bottle. I mean, 10 to 12 bucks a glass, and if there's four of you, that's basically a bottle of wine. So now you're talking 40 to 50 bucks really for a bottle of wine. Obviously there's a markup because they have to make money. But again, they're buying these wholesale, which obviously are cheaper.
Right.
So if you're willing to pay $12 to $15 a glass, for a glass of wine, then you should be willing to pay $60 to $70 for a bottle of wine. That's kind of how I see it.
Okay. I got it. Yeah.
You see the math? So like,
Yeah. I follow you. Yeah. I
well,
mean,
think about it. Like if you're, let's say you take your parents out for dinner and, like it's you and your wife or you and your partner and you're just like, hey, let's take out my parents for, dinner. We're going to buy a bottle of wine. No, normally you're going to be buying two bottles of wine because you really want a little bit more than one glass.
Sure.
But really, the low end for a lot of these restaurants are probably $30 to $40 a bottle, for the most part.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking, triple to quadruple. You go into the city, you go into Boston, you're paying quadruple. That's easy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
around near us, here in North Shore, you're gonna pay probably triple. You get lucky, maybe double once in a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could play this out a little bit more, right? So you go out to dinner, you go to Boston, you pay $100 for a bottle of wine. Well, basically that's four of these.
Right.
So, from an economic standpoint, that's the way I look at it. It's like, well, I can, have a decent bottle of wine for 20, 25 bucks. Maybe buy 5 bottles of wine versus that $100 bottles. I'm going to, it's obviously a special occasion and, it's fine to go out and dine and have that experience. But that's what I think we punished that enough. So, we beat that dead horse for a while. So, I don't know. There's we do the geek part, right? So we got a little bit of the Felino's got that broad shoulder. The Benegas has got that top. This is marketing, folks. This is what they pay all these people lots of money to do all this stuff. I don't know. You have some comments about the labels, but I do have some harsh comments. But go ahead.
Well, yeah. So right, because you have the 17 on the Felino. So notice if you put yours up, Pete, the labels are different. Graphic thing going on. You can kind of see that. So, but pretty simple, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's not loud. It's not like Freak Show, which we've done in the past.
Yeah.
It's just pretty.
It's really basic.
Yeah, basic. Stark. I don't know.
It's like a label that I would print off and tape to a bottle.
Is that right? Okay.
I mean, really, I could probably write it in and it would look just as good. Like
yeah, it's not remarkable. It's not remarkable.
Unremarkable. You know,
Yeah, exactly. But
I'm
you
probably
know,
being kinder than I really should be, but it's unremarkable. I think again, after what I'm tasting, maybe hopefully the food will be better. But anyway, now this one, the Arrigo Benegas, it's a little interesting. I think that's like a little cloud, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
yeah, it looks
gonna
like that.
enter.
I saw that. I wasn't sure what that was.
I think it's a cloud, but um, it's like it looks like sort of like a bronze lettering, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Again, simple label,
it's
you know.
almost raised, like embossed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
But
The punch, we talk about the punch, right? These are these little indentions, folks,
yeah,
that
yeah,
got a kind of a medium punt. You can hold it, hold it in your hand. It's kind of cool. That's on that one. A little deeper punt on the Foligno, which is kind of cool. Here we go. Yeah, I know we're geeking out, folks. This is what we do here. Kind of fun. It's amazing how they paid all these people for the marketing, and I'm trying to figure out where their salary went. But
I think the Foligno's a heavier bottle. The glass is heavier.
well, they're both green bottles, right? So,
It's thicker,
yeah,
I think. I don't know. It's thicker maybe on the Foligno.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, Foligno's thicker. Yeah, good point. I didn't pick up on that. And you know what? It's driving me crazy, these little dots on the bottom. I'm gonna have to ask somebody because I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is Braille or anything or some other signal, but I don't know. These little dots. See these dots? The bottom?
Oh,
I
okay. I've
don't
seen
know
them
what.
before. Yeah, I've seen them. I mean, there is a French producer that does Braille labels. Did we talk about that before a while ago?
No, no. What is that?
Well, it's Chapoutier.
Okay.
Chapoutier. They're well known. Matilda Chapoutier, a female winemaker,
All right.
very well entrenched in the wine business. And the
Yeah.
labels within that family, they're in Braille. The family has a blind child.
Oh, okay.
So
All
yeah,
right.
so they make a really nice Coteron under. It's $10. Really nice.
Yeah.
They do a nice
Wow.
rosé too, but I
This
digress.
is this is going to give me. I'm going to have to do research on this because this is driving me crazy. I don't want to be offensive to blind people either, so I just want to
Right.
we're speaking out respectfully. It's like I can imagine being hard to be a blind wine consumer. But maybe it helps you with your wine picking, really, because you're not.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about. I would think that your palate would be more refined.
Oh my
You know what
goodness,
I
yeah.
mean?
Well, when you remove one sense, obviously the other
Right.
senses are
Exactly.
going to be removed. Attuned.
Exactly.
There's another thing I picked up on is the bottom of this has got a little shamrock. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little shamrock on the back of the Foligno. I don't know if you got that on yours, but don't know what
I
that
got
means.
dots. I have dots in the Foligno, but I don't a shamrock.
Yep,
I
there's
I
one on
don't
the
see a
back.
shamrock.
There's a dots on the front,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah. It's got a shamrock. It's
it's got a shamrock.
Yeah.
Pretty
That's a good
cool.
eye. Good eye, Joe. I didn't see that before. Yeah.
Wow, the stuff that we find, it's amazing.
Well, you just gotta observe, pay attention.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, I know we have a hard stop coming up, right? So,
hmm
um,
But I
I
think we
think
got
we,
some good content here. I think we got some good content. We had
yes, I
Jen.
do. I believe we got some good content for
We had Jen
everybody.
join.
Yeah, and I'm glad Jen can join us. She's definitely loves her wine. Definitely has visited more wineries than I have in the last 6 months. So, and then definitely a big fan of wine value. So that's a good thing. And I think we really explored these two wines, and I really thank you very much for those. I will report back, folks. I always do a follow-up on these wines because I really like to do the wine pairings and figure out if they do really work with the meat that we're serving. And thankfully, my wife is cooking the lamb tonight, so I'm going to help her. But Guess what? Yay, wine value. That's right, Jen. You got that. You got that.
Oh, okay. Gail is cooking tonight. Okay.
Gail is cooking. Yes,
Oh,
Gail is
nice. Very
cooking.
nice.
I will coach her on the lamb because she's
Okay.
not a big. Well, she cooked. She's a good cook, but she's a tendency to overcook the meat a little bit. So,
Oh,
but
I see. So you might have to give her a little how can we put it?
guidance,
Yeah,
advice. Yes.
advice. A little some cues. Maybe.
Huge. Yeah, yeah, there you go. That's right. Well, let's just say she cooks it. I'm more of a medium rare person, and she's more of a medium well, which is
I got it.
yes. But as you know, with lamb, if you overdo lamb, if you cook it too long, it can be a little.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
want that.
you don't want that.
I mean, I don't. No, you don't. No.
Yeah,
Yeah, no. I'm interested to know how the lamb pairs.
yeah,
I was
exactly.
gonna say Pete, and I hope it goes well tonight for you and Gail. But I was gonna say maybe we should move for our next program. We could
Yeah.
do. There's a really nice cab from Argentina, and it's at $10. So maybe I can match it up with another.
Mm-hmm.
We can do domestic and Argentina. Low price point. Normally we hit around that $20, maybe a little bit more, but $10. It's a really nice wine. I think it should be featured.
I'm intrigued. $10 for Cabernet. That might be something we need to explore, and I know Jen is definitely interested.
I've been
in
selling
that.
a lot of it. It's just moving. It's moving. I don't know.
Well, obviously people like it. So, the biggest, I would say the greatest validation of any wine is if it sells, and if it sells a lot, not just little, bottle here, bottle there, but if it sells and moves, then obviously there's something good about it. Like I said, it's for me, it's like a godsend that we love that Mysterio Malbec that you introduced us to.
Yeah,
We're
I'm so
buying
glad.
a lot.
I'm so glad.
It's $8.99, and I'm still trying to find something wrong with it.
Why do you do that? Why do you do that, Pete? Sometimes there is nothing wrong with
Oh,
it.
well, if it's too good to be true, then it's
I know.
not true.
I know.
That's the whole thing.
That's yeah. With wine, it's different. I think with wine, it could be different. I mean,
Yeah,
depending, with the vintage to vintage. But Mysterio, you've been drinking for a while, so
yeah, that's right. So, and that would be good. That would be a good maybe that would be a good segue into American wines after 2 weeks from now. We'll go from there. But I think that we should try that. I think that would be a good thing, and I think that'd be great content for everybody. I think probably good to wrap up right now. So, folks, thanks to Emmanuel, we focused on his home country, Argentina. We talked about Felina. We talked about Rigo Benegas from the Mendoza region, but particularly the Uco Valley, which is a newer GI or newer AVA, if you want to call it that. More minerality than we expect from a Malbec. He and I were I'd say we're kind of iffy on those wines. They didn't jump out at us, but that's fine. You know what? That's what we're here to do. Not every wine's going to be spectacular, right? So we're just sitting there going, okay,
that's right.
we're going to try it, see if we like it. We're not going to bash it ridiculously. We're going to be respectful of the winemakers because this is hard work, and it's hard work to put out really good wines, year after year, vintage after vintage. And in these, specifically the climate that they're in, they're obviously at the foot of the Andes. So,
that's it.
with that, I want to say thank you, Emmanuel. It was good to see you again.
Absolutely, sir. You're quite welcome.
Yes, and folks, we're going to post this to IGTV, and we're going to obviously post this to the YouTube channel, Great American Nosh. And hopefully you guys are going to be able to join us in 2 weeks live. But if not, we would love Q&A. Send us questions ahead of time. We're going to let you know what's going on ahead of time in terms of the wines we're going to offer. So please send us your questions. Emmanuel, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your time. Folks.
And then I had my cousin just join. She joined way late, Marcela, but that's nice. She's in Argentina.
Oh,
all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Hey.
There you go. All right, folks.
All right,
thank you very much. Bye now.
All right. It was fun. Have a good night.
Yep. So let me see what we got here. Yes.